Who's been opening the borders of every Western country? Well, that's easy. There's only one position that lets you do that, and that's the president and prime ministers of each of the Western countries. From the US to Canada, Australia, New Zealand, to every European country, they've all been left-wing Christians. Doesn't matter whether it was Biden in the US or Starmer in England and Tony Blair before him. Doesn't matter whether it was the biggest open borders prime minister in world history, Angela Merkel in Germany. Doesn't matter if it was Albanese in Australia. All have been left-wing Christians. Now, anti-Semites will tell you that, look at this Jewish NGO or that Jewish NGO. Irrelevant. They couldn't do a damn thing if it wasn't for the okay of the presidents and prime ministers. Keep in mind, the biggest NGO that has ever existed. And let's start with some of the smaller ones. Yes, you've had some Reformed Jewish ones. They pale in comparison to the Lutheran ones and Protestant ones. And all of those combined are nothing compared to the largest NGO for open borders, and that's been the Catholic Church. And even they couldn't do a thing if it wasn't for the left-wing Christian presidents and prime ministers of every Western country. So how do you stop it? Let's talk about that for a minute. Because if you were to go ahead and tell this to Christian conservatives, they would tell you that these Christian leftists aren't real Christians. And the Christian leftists would tell you, yes, we are. And the Christian conservatives would say, no, you're not. And the leftist Christians would say, yes, we are. And the Christian conservatives would say, no, you're not. And you get nowhere. The way to go ahead and take them down is the language they speak. They don't speak in religious terms. They speak, let's call it fluent secular. They speak the language of secular conversation. Show, for example, what the Islamic immigration has done to minorities. Not just what they do to Jews. That's 0.2% of the world's population. Talk about how women in these Muslim Arab countries have less rights than farm animals have in the US and Israel. That's 52% of the world's population, right there. 120 or 250 times the number of Jews on the planet. Talk to them about what they do in these Muslim Arab countries to gay people, whether they're hanged or thrown in jail. And of course, these Muslim Arab countries have been the kings of black slavery. 300,000 black slaves went to all of North America. Compare that to 14 to 20 million black slaves who went to the Muslim Arab world. And they're still enslaved there. All the men were castrated on the way there and had a life expectancy that could be measured in months. We're talking, 50, 60 times the number of black slaves who went to all of North America combined. And what I tell these leftist Christians is, why do you despise humanity so much to side with that? What do you got against the human race? And for some reason, I never hear from them again. Speak to people in their own language. These people speak fluent secular. That's the way to go ahead and to take them down.